even as we decimated the al-Qaeda leadership that attacked us on 9/11, al-Qaeda affiliates and like-minded extremists still threaten our homeland, still threaten our diplomatic facilities, still threaten our businesses abroad. And we've got to take these threats seriously and do all we can to confront them.
That was President Obama at Camp Pendleton yesterday addressing the current terror threat that closed 19 diplomatic posts abroad. And while another suspected U.S. drone strike in Yemen has taken out alleged al-Qaeda members, there seems to be a growing backlash to the government's response to that threat. The New York Times reports the swift evacuation of the U.S. Embassy in Yemen has upset other countries who say it looks like a show of weakness. Even some terror experts here at home are questioning that mood. David Gartenstein-Ross is a counterterrorism specialist and senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies and joins us now. David, it's good to have you here. Will McCants, who was a former State Department advisor on counterterrorism, was quoted by McClatchy as saying that the broad terror response was, quote, these were his words, crazy pants. That was his official description here. Do you believe that there has been an overreaction here, especially with knowing that the embassy in Yemen was evacuated?
I believe that the crazy pants line of analysis is a somewhat compelling one, but I diverge from it in a few details. And in particular, you have a lot of people, a lot of talking heads coming on and debating whether the president did the right thing, did the wrong thing. One thing I will point out about this particular terror threat is we have such a paucity of data that whenever new information comes forward, it moves the dial on this story and it moves the dial on our assessment. So, in the same McClatchy story that McCants offered the crazy pants line of analysis, I pointed out that, I wouldn't say that they're doing the right thing, but also we know so little about their reasoning that I wouldn't come down too hard. And in fact, since that story was published, there's been a little bit more information coming out in a report in the Daily Beast, which actually gets at some of the specifics as to why they decided to close the embassies that they did.
Well, you have this article up on Politico titled "Put a Sock in It," saying in part, quote, based on newspaper accounts alone, neither will have any doubt about which messages have been intercepted, and thus they will have no doubt about which channels of communication have been compromised, and they will adapt. So is there too much information that's being released, or is this a smart, muscular flex in response that, okay, we're on to you, we recognize what you're trying to do, we are going to respond to keep our own people safe, but you're not going to get away with it in the long run?
I thought there was too much information released about one specific thing, which is the communications that gave rise to this terror alert. If you look at the newspaper stories, and there's a long, there's a long number of them. They get into communications between Zawahiri and Waheshi. The Wall Street Journal at the outset reported the ascension of Waheshi to general manager of al-Qaeda. The amalgamation of these pieces would make very clear to anyone within the organization which specific lines of communication were compromised. And I mentioned the Daily Beast report before. What that story talks about is the fact that there's what they call a conference call. I mean, really, it's basically encrypted electronic communications between high-level al-Qaeda leaders in which they were discussing this plot. Now, the Daily Beast doesn't tell you anything that the terrorists wouldn't already know, but my point is that this is encrypted communication. It's hard to penetrate their communications, and if you make clear that we have and which communications we penetrated, then they're simply going to adapt.
And many thanks to you, David Gartenstein-Ross. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Straight ahead, the Amber Alert for two missing children, a sister and a brother. It has now been expanded outside of California's